Trans activists want more diversity when it comes to packaging of feminine hygiene products. Okay, we'll get into that. A man wins a woman's master sprint cycling world championships, and guess what? He breaks the world record again. A terrible story from Texas that is nothing more than state-sponsored child abuse. Bed Bath & Beyond gets woke and pulls racist jack-o'-lanterns, and GQ is insane. What a crazy-ass world we live in. This is, by the way, they're going to be cussing tonight. This is Gene, and you're listening to Dumbasses Talking Politics. I have a ton to cover tonight, and I've got 30 minutes to do it. I'm going to really try. So, there seems to be this insane controversy about feminine hygiene products such as tampons and menstrual pads. I don't know if menstrual pads is exactly the right... I haven't been married in a while, so I don't know if menstrual pads is actually the right term, but I'm going to go with it anyway. Anyway, it's the pad that the chick wears when she has her period. Fine. I've been married. I know that enough. Apparently, a trans group has decided to boycott Procter & Gamble's feminine hygiene products because they had an actual female symbol on their packaging. I'm not kidding. That's that symbol. It's the circle with the upside down cross, right? And Procter & Gamble complied. They got woke, I guess. I don't know what they did. Maybe they just didn't want to deal with the crap. But they got woke. And they complied. I'm really so tired of this. When are men who want to be women get surgery to make a fake vagina going to realize that they are still men? They're not. The reason feminine hygiene products have a female symbol on them is because no man, even one who has mutilated his penis in testicles, I hope there are no kids in the car, because these people don't have periods. So a man who has this weird ass surgery to make a vagina still is not going to have a period. So my point here is men do not have periods. Period. Yes, I did use that as wordplay. So it's, yeah. I might do it again. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. What trips me out is these men who think they're women say they don't like the sex they've been assigned. And I put that in air quotes because you're not assigned a sex. You're born a sex. How in the hell do they know that the other sex is the sex they should belong to? They were never... A trans woman was never a woman. So how does that individual know that he is actually a woman? And that he feels he's a woman? It's such a stupid argument. They weren't women. Ever women. Oh, I'm going to do it again. Period. And you know what? I don't care what Julian Castro says. Listen to this.
Secretary Castro, this one is for you. All of you on stage support a woman's right to an abortion. You all support some version of a government health care option. Would your plan cover abortion, Mr. Secretary?
Yes, it would. I don't believe only in reproductive freedom. I believe in reproductive justice. And, what that means is that just because a woman, or let's also not forget someone in the trans community, a trans female, is poor, doesn't mean they shouldn't have the right to exercise that right to choose. And so I absolutely would cover the right to have an abortion.
I love the, I'm for social justice. Yeah, no. Here's a newsflash. Trans women cannot have abortions. Now, I understand that this was from 3 months ago. It was a gaffe. But the thing is, in the last debate, which I could not, what a shock, I couldn't actually find any comments about this. The last debate, he actually doubled down on that and said that trans women should be able to have abortions, even though trans women are actually men and they can't get pregnant. Oh yes, and they can't have a menstrual cycle. So let's oh my God, we're just so crazy. I think this is why Julian has less than 1% of the vote as far as the polls go, and probably should just go away. You know, go do whatever he's doing, because I don't know what he does now. And he's just an idiot, and the people know this. How you can sit back and say that a man who became a woman, who doesn't have anything that a woman has, I'm sorry, cutting your stuff does not make you a woman. How you feel does not make you a woman. How a guy can sit there and say, well, he can have an abortion. No, he can't have an abortion because he can't get pregnant. Here's a newsflash. He also doesn't have a period. So there's no reason to go buying feminine hygiene products like tampons and things like that, which is why women, they buy that stuff because they have a period, but if you're a man, you're never going to have a period. I don't know. Why am I explaining this? Why am I spending so much time in this? Hey, here's it. Here's what it comes down to. Men who want to be women cannot have periods because they don't menstruate. Men who want to be women cannot have abortions because they cannot get pregnant. Women who think they are men and get pregnant aren't pregnant men. They are women who got pregnant. In fact, that proves that they are women. Listen to it again. Period. People are so dumb. I swear, we're 100 years from now, I'm going to be dead. Probably the way the political climate is right now, I'll be dead in 4 or 5 years. But I hope to God they have some sort of old man shot they give me and I can live for 200 years, because I want to hear what people are going to say in 2120 about our way of life, about how we were. Like that Charleston thing with the frickin' frizzies all over the place. And people are looking at, they actually danced like that? Yeah, they did. They did. And 2021, they actually believed that a man was a woman? That's going to happen. I kid you not. Okay, but we're not done with the trans thing. Let's keep going with the trans thing. This is going to be the stupid stories. Well, sort of. We're going to get to the real story. Rachel McKinnon won the Women's Masters Track Cycling World Championships for sprint distances of 500 meters. She set the world record and for the 35 to 39 age group. Good for her. Oh, wait. Sorry. I forgot. She's a he! She's not a she. She's a he. She competed against women. No, stop. I just messed up. He competed against women and won it. Now let's not BS here. McKinnon stands 6 feet tall and weighs 200 pounds. The second place gal stood at 5'5" and weighed 135 pounds. And by the way, she was an actual she. So, here's a couple questions. So, why is he so tall? Because he's a man. He's the average height for a man. Well, hold on. Why does he weigh so much? Because he's a man, and men have more muscle density, which is heavier than fat, And so he weighs a lot more. McKinnon posted on Instagram, get this, oh my God, this guy won. This guy won a cycling contest against women. That's like me beating up a woman during a boxing match. He posted this. Okay, hold on. Hold on to your stuff. Or I would say your balls, but I don't know who you are. Maybe you're not a guy. I don't know anymore. This jersey. This is a jersey he wore during the race. These medals. Those are the 2 medals he won. And this world record means a whole lot more to me than my first. There are many more barriers this year. A much bigger spotlight. Truly incessant hate. And people doing everything in their power to have me banned. Make me fail. And make me quit. I didn't. And I won't. I will be back next year. I will be stronger and faster than ever. You can count on it. Do you know why? He's probably going to stop taking his freaking hormones. Is this guy freaking kidding me? He is actually making himself into a victim because he beat a bunch of women riding a bicycle. Oh my Lord. So stupid. Of course, he'll be back next year. There's no question he'll be back next year. He'll be back next year because he's winning. Why would he not be back next year to be stupid? This guy would not even qualify if he tried to compete with the men. He would not even be in the top 100 with the men. In other words, it's like me saying, okay, I'm going to go run 100 miles, but I'm only going to compete. I'm going to go run a race, but I'm only going to compete with the women, and I come in 3rd place. Do you know how bad this guy is? He actually finished 2nd. This is a guy who is competitive with women, but not completely competitive. He is not competitive at all with men. The women's world record is substantial. The women's world record is substantially slower than the men's world record. It's crazy. Okay. Here's the other thing that really just chaps my hide. Where are the feminists? I mean, you've got a white man who's decided to compete against women, but you don't hear anything from them saying, no, that's wrong. That's the patriarchy or toxic masculinity. You don't hear any of that crap. That's because women are lower on the intersectionality scale compared to trans men. We're going to have a talk about intersectionality one day and identity politics. This is not something new, and it's a real thing. This is something that was brought up, I think it was back in the 70s or early 80s. And get this, from Cal State Berkeley, who's having nothing but problems right now. We need to talk about that because you got to sit back and say, well, a white man won the race, so what? So why do I keep bringing this? Why do I bring this up? I just gave you 2 stories, both extremely asinine stories. The reason I bring these stories up is because this is what happens when we lie to ourselves. This is what happens when we call a he a she. This is what happens when we sit back and say that there's a third sex. The previous stories were kind of funny. But this story is not funny, and the previous stories lead to this. This is why I was anti-gay marriage. And I think I should have stuck to anti-gay marriage because it leads to this. In Plano, Texas, a man, James Younger, and his estranged wife, and Gurgulus, I don't know, she's some freaking Greek gal, are having a custody fight. Okay, they got a divorce, not a shock, right? But this fight is over whether their son is a boy or a girl. Gurgulus, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, whatever, says that the little boy, and at the time he was 3, actually identifies as a girl. Here's a newsflash. No boy knows what a girl is at 3. They have no idea. They don't even know what that thing between their legs is. So, she's fighting to be allowed to start hormone therapy for her son's transition. In other words, she wants to chemically castrate him and make him into a girl. Can anyone say Munchausen syndrome? Younger, the father, is desperate to stop this insane, quote, woke, end quote, woman from ruining his child's life, his son's life. He says the boy, when he's with his father, when he's with him, acts like a normal boy. He dresses up in jeans, he does whatever. He wears boys' clothes, he acts like a boy, plays with guns, complains, and he complains that he's treated like a girl. Well, I tell you what, don't trust me. Trust Younger. Younger posted a video of his son talking. Let's listen and tell me if things seem normal. Now, unless you go to dumbassestalkingpolitics.com, you're not going to actually see the video. But the kid has a towel wrapped around his head, and the reason he's got the towel wrapped around his head is because he needs to have long hair, which he doesn't have because he's a boy, and he's doing that because his mom wants him to have long hair. This is sick and heartbreaking. And this is where we are today. This is where all this trans bullshit is affecting us right now. The trans community literally makes up 0.4% of our population, but we got to bend over backwards for them. It's insane. This woman who, by the way, calls her son Luna. She actually registered him at school as Luna. I'm not going to sit back and give the kid's real name, okay? Is sick, and she's abusing her child. Can I ask you a question? What's the difference between what she's doing with her kid and any other person that sits back and says that their kid is worthless over and over and over again? Isn't that considered child abuse? And if you see the video, you see the kid never looks at his dad when he asks the questions. And by the way, I don't excuse that. The dad, no, don't do that. This is not good. And maybe he's getting desperate. Here, and he's trying to show that this kid is in pain. This kid is struggling. I can't confirm this yet. I've heard rumors, but it's not been posted on any news site. I heard this from the Daily Wire, and they made it very clear they can't confirm this. But word has it, Younger lost his case in Plano, Texas. That means that not only can this child's mother chemically castrate her son, but he must treat his son as a girl or be accused of child abuse. How sick is this? How can anyone see this as anything but sick? I know this is a real frickin' downer. But this is state-sponsored child abuse, and we cannot handle it. Now, hopefully, and I know he will, he's going to take this all the way to Supreme Court, and hopefully, by the time that kid is by the time it gets to the Supreme Court, that kid is 18, and he can tell his mom to fuck off. Just disgusting. I know that was a really heavy story, and I'm thinking it was a really heavy story. So, let's get to something, a couple things really lighter, much lighter. The first thing is, and we still got 8 minutes left, I could probably get into the NBA story. Bed Bath & Beyond is in some trouble. They had the audacity to sell jack-o'-lanterns that weren't painted orange, but were painted black. And these were the typical jack-o'-lanterns. They were plastic and whatever. They were just black. And people would put candles in the jack-o'-lantern. And they would light the candles. And they would glow orange from inside the jack-o'-lantern. But the jack-o'-lanterns would painted black. I mean, they looked kind of cool. They looked freaking bitter and evil and mean. They looked really good. If I had seen this, I had never heard of these jack-o'-lanterns. I'd never heard of these jack-o'-lanterns until this story. And I probably would have never bought the jack-o'-lantern until this story. And now I really want to buy the jack-o'-lantern, and Bed Bath & Beyond wussed out. Okay? Because what's really cool, what really looks good, is probably not woke, and we have to ban it. If it's not woke, we have to ban it. Wilbur Aldridge. Right off the bat, a guy named Wilbur should already be dismissed as a frickin' fuddy-duddy. Because nobody in the 21st century has the name of Wilbur. Nobody at the later half of the 20th century has the name of Wilbur. Wilbur Aldridge, who is a local director of the NAACP, said, quote, "By now, I would believe everyone would know that anything in blackface is offensive. I had to move something so that I can slam my head into my table. I'm sure you heard it. You heard me moving that thing, and you heard me slamming my head into the table. It's a jack-o'-lantern, you dumbass! It's not real! Well, whatever. So in order to avoid problems, Bed Bath & Beyond pulled the pumpkins 48 hours after they were placed on the shelves. Away we go. Bed Bath & Beyond? Way to go, Bed Bath & Beyond. There's another store I will not be going to frequently. I will not be going to frequent. We still have 8 days to bitch about inappropriate costumes, and that's absolutely coming, and I think that's going to be my podcast. You know what I'm going to dress up as Halloween? No, I'm gonna hold that off because it's really funny. I personally would love to see some company who's not woke enough to realize that, a plastic pumpkin is not woke. I would love for one of those companies to just sit there and say, you know what, F you, we're not doing it. These pumpkins are really cool. They look awesome. We're not going to buy into your crap. And just give the middle finger. There are a couple companies that actually did that. Let me think. Hobby Lobby. Let me think of another one. Oh, Chick-fil-A. They sat back and said, no, that's what we believe. Screw you. And they ended up making more money. Hey, boycott culture does not work. Anyone who says boycott culture works is full of crap. It never works. Fox has been boycotted since they started. They've never gone away. Boycott culture doesn't work. The problem is these companies don't want to deal with it. In the case of Chick-fil-A, yeah, we'll deal with it. In the case of Hobby Lobby, yeah, we'll deal with it. We'll take it to the Supreme Court. They both won. Not only politically, not only through the courts, legally, constitutionally, they won through political opinion by their stock going up. Them having more people eating their hamburgers or buying their crochet crap, whatever. And here's the thing. We got 8 days left before Halloween, and we still have the inappropriate... I think we're going to have a special on inappropriate Halloween costumes. So, I know what I'm going to wear for Halloween. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to go dressed as a Native American princess wearing a kimono and a serape. Oh yeah, and I'm going to be in blackface while wearing a KKK hood. I should be the hit at work. So dumb. The problem is, this is so dangerous. Because this craziness is becoming mainstream. I gave you 2 stories that were so stupid about transsexuals. Transsexuals don't even make up 1%. And by the way, I have no problems with transsexuals. If I'm having lunch with a transsexual, I'm going to call it whatever it wants to be called. Because I respect people. I don't like being forced into doing something. They make 0.4% of the population, and look how much power they have. And now we're looking, and by the way, I have a minute and a half left, so I'm going to keep going. And now we're looking at pumpkins, plastic pumpkins that looked really cool simply because they were black. That reminds someone of blackface. Here's the thing. I guarantee you could take one of those pumpkins, stick it in the middle of South Central LA, and not one black guy is going to sit there and say, that's blackface. This is a guy who's a director of a local chapter of the NAACP. They're looking for attention. No one's offended by any of this. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. This is how we lose our rights. And it needs to stop. People like me, people like you, people like Ben Shapiro, Andrew Klavan, Michael Knowles, Fleckus. These are the people that are going to point this out. They're going to stop it. Fox News, Crowder, Louder with Crowder. One of these days, I'm going to have a podcast where I can say, hey, you got to listen to these people. Because I think it's very important we get the word out. And already a lot of folks are having problems in YouTube. I'm not a big YouTube guy. I'm on episode 87 right now. It's at 100. I'm going to actually monetize this. I'm actually going to push this on social media and rebrand this. We need to push this out to people to realize that it looks so stupid, but no, that doesn't change the fact that if we don't win the stupid battles, we could lose the war. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the episode. You can follow me on Twitter at RunninFool, RUNNINFEWL. You can visit my website where you'll see the show notes. The show notes will include some of the text. It will also include videos and pictures that I obviously can't show you on a podcast. You can download and listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Podcast Addict, and YouTube. I hope you have a great night. I hope you enjoyed the episode. This is Gene, and you've listened to Dumbasses Talking Politics.